Hi, welcome to another episode of Comics Review. I'm your host, Kevin Starkey. The first comic I'm going to talk about is this is Ice Age, Iced In, and it's by Kaboom. I picked this up for my nephew, and I decided to go ahead and read it myself, and I thought I'd talk about it real quick. If you've seen the Ice Age movies, you'll be familiar with the characters in this. It's got neat artwork. Across the top here is that little, I don't know, like a prehistoric squirrel type character that you've seen. They have little shorts or whatever in the Ice Age movie where he's basically just chasing a nut, and it gets away from him, and it's kind of a silly little thing. I always enjoyed that part, and that's like a running thing across a couple of pages, and then he ends up actually affecting the bigger story. So that was kind of a neat element. The artwork in here is really good. The coloring's good. The characters, they look just like they do in the movie. It's definitely a kids comic by and large. But if you enjoy the movies, it'd be fun to read this with a child for sure. They would laugh at a lot of things in here, and the humor's nice, and it's a neat little story about friendship and stuff, and getting into trouble and getting out of trouble, and overall, definitely a good kids comic for sure. I guess I'd rate it a 5 out of 5 if I'm rating it like I rate my normal stuff. The artwork's great, the story's good, and the writing's really good. Definitely, if you're a fan of the movies and you have a kid in your life, I think that they'll enjoy that. I'm gonna mail this to my nephew today, actually. So that's it. The next comic I'm gonna talk about, this is Brimstone #7 from Zenescope, and this is the last in this story arc, I guess, or it says the end on the last page, so I'm guessing that's it. But the girl at the end says for now, so I'm guessing that means there could possibly be some more Brimstone comics, although I don't think I will be picking any of them up. Now, the artwork in here is really good. This is sort of a western slash horror, comic. Very dark. I often found that in some of the frames, I couldn't tell what's going on, like what I'm supposed to get out of it. There's not a whole lot of writing, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. The artwork's really cool, though. I mean, it looks very much like a painting. The frames are like weird shapes with dark, black between the frames. So it's totally different. It reminds me a lot of some of the comics from Radical. The artwork, the layouts, and everything. But overall, I just and maybe I'll go back, although I'm not motivated to do it, but it might be a good idea to go back and reread all these issues, because from one to the next, I forgot what was going on in the story. It might make a good cheesy horror movie, although those don't seem to, the Western type don't seem to do that well. I wouldn't think. But I'd rate this comic series, if I'm rating it on the art's really good. 4.5 or 5 out of 5. The story, I guess it's an interesting premise. The writing is, I wasn't following it, so maybe those things, I don't want to rate them too poorly. I guess overall a 2.5 out of 5 stars for the whole series. But maybe if I reread it, I might rate it a little higher. I'm not sure about that. The next comic, this one I bought on a whim. This is Marvel, Winter Soldier, issue #1. It's Ed Brubaker, Butch Goose, I guess that's how you pronounce that name, and Betty Brightweiser from the pages of Captain America. This is that Bucky character who I never really knew much about. I've just been hearing a lot about him lately, and I'm a fan of the Ed Brubaker comics and stuff, so I saw that his name was attached to this, and I picked it up solely based on that, and I was never a Captain America fan when I used to collect superhero comics. And I never heard of this Bucky guy back in the day when I used to collect, so I didn't know anything about him going into this except for his name. And the artwork in here is very much what I'm used to with Ed Brubaker comics. Um, there's sort of a guy, Bucky, and a girl, Natasha, and they're sort of uh, they're teamed up and they're on a mission together. And um, I wasn't totally thrilled with this. The writing style is great. I mean, it's Ed Brubaker, and I really enjoy his work a lot. And it's a neat, neat coloring, neat artwork. I didn't get pulled into the story at all. Which I'm sad to say. I was kind of hoping that maybe I would. But if you're a fan of Captain America, this Bucky character, Winter Soldier, you'll probably love it because it's really good. Unless you hate Ed Brubaker, I guess. But I don't know how many people out there are like that. I'm not going to be picking up issue number 2. I wish I could say I was. But maybe give it a shot. Definitely artwork a 5 out of 5. The story is good if that's what your thing is. It's just not mine. I guess I'll rate the comic a 3 out of 5. I don't want to give it too much bad press because I like Brubaker a lot, and it's just not my thing. And then another comic for my nephew here, Kung Fu Panda. This is issue number 4 of 4, and I'm a fan of the Kung Fu Panda movies, and I saw this comic and I thought it'd be good for my nephew, so I picked this one up also, and I've been saving them until I got all 4 of them, and I'm gonna send it with that other comic to him. Great artwork, neat story. It's just fun seeing this panda in another story. In this one, he meets up with this pig that he grew up with as a kid, who was sort of always trying to one up him. And in this story, he's here to try to one up the panda again. They compete, and I won't give it away if you're interested, but it's neat. It teaches a good lesson, and I think if you have a kid and it also has a second story in here at the end, Let the Fur Fly, and the art style in that is a little bit different, a little brighter, crisper colors. But I like the style of both of these. I like this sort of pale coloring on the first story too. 5 out of 5 definitely. This series is really good, but it's definitely it even says on here young readers. This is Kid Zoic it's from Ape Entertainment. I guess it's their kid line or whatever. Excellent comic. I loved it. Definitely a kid story, but something an adult could definitely enjoy reading to a kid for sure. And that's the 4th comic for this week. Let me quickly show you the other comics I picked up this week. The Strange Talent of Luther Strode, that's issue 5 of 6, and that's from Image Comics. And Fatale, that's issue 2 from Image Comics. That's the Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips comic. I'm anxious to read that one. That's a fun story. Haunted City number 2. This is from Aspen Comics. It's a weird story. And Star Wars, Dawn of the Jedi. This is issue number 0. And I picked this up because I've been reading a lot of Star Wars comics lately, and just wanted to see what it's like. It's sort of, it doesn't look like a normal comic. It's just telling you stuff, showing you, pictures of stuff. So I'm not sure how that's going to be, but it might be interesting. And sorry, I'm rambling a lot today. I haven't done this for a couple of weeks, and I apologize for that. Life has just been crazy lately. I'll try to get back on a regular 2-week schedule going forward. And that's it for this week. Please leave a comment here on YouTube or over on my blog at twodognight.net. Let me know what you're reading. Have you read any of the stuff I talked about this week? Which is probably unlikely, but that's it. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Or 2 weeks. Bye-bye.